Hello friends, today in this tutorial I will be telling you that how to build a real-time chatting kind of an application. It will be a full stack application built using React.js at the front end, and we will be using Flask at the back end. Flask, as you all know, basically it's a framework of Python in order to build out REST APIs. So we will be using Flask at the back end and React.js at the front end. So this will be a full stack application, and we will be using socket.io to make this application real time. So this will be a simple mini chat kind of an application, so where multiple clients can chat at the same time. So basically you can see this is my React.js front end, localhost 3001. So this is connected with one client here. I can even just open a new window here. Let me open this new incognito window and simply open the new client. So this will be the second client. So obviously I am just using the same computer, so that's why I am opening like this. So now you can see this is two clients connected with each other, and you can now see this is one client, this is a second client. So these are two different windows, and same you can see this is a simple chat box out there. Let me just do this. You can see that basically if I refresh it now, so if I now click this, I send a message here. Let me send out, hello, this is John. Click on submit. You will see both at the same time in both the windows the message will be sent here. This is completely real time. We are not using any sort of database. This is happening due to socket.io. Let's suppose I send a message from this window that hello, this is David, and click on submit. You will see that automatically these messages are being rendered out there. This is happening because of socket.io. This is a Node.js real-time library to make web application real-time. So it is using bidirectional protocol. We are exchanging data between the client and the server. In this case we are exchanging data between the Flask and the React.js application. So basically it's WebSocket. WebSockets, as you all know guys, WebSockets is a very special kind of a protocol where we can exchange information from client to server and server to client. It's a bidirectional protocol, and with the help of this protocol you can build out real-time applications such as chatting application, polling applications. So whenever you write this, it will go to each and every client which is connected out there. So this is WebSocket chatting application we will try to build in this tutorial. This will be a full stack application, and this will be built using React.js and Flask. So if you're watching it for the very first time, please hit that like button, subscribe the channel. So for this I have written a complete blog post on my tutorial website webninjadeveloper.com. so you can go to the description of this blog post to download all the source code. So let me just give this link in the live chat as well. So if you want to get all the source code, you can get the full source code right here. You can get this source code here. So now guys, we will be initializing this application. Now we will be building this application. So let me just close all the windows and close these windows as well. So inside your projects folder guys, we will create a brand new folder which will be called as Flask React Socket.io app. cd into this guys. So and I will be opening this inside our Visual Studio Code text editor. So basically guys, we will be building two folders out there, which will be for first one will be for the backend, and second of all will be for the front end. And now first of all guys, we will be building our backend, and inside the backend directory guys, you need to make a requirements.txt file. So I have given all the dependencies which are needed to build out your Flask server guys. So if you go to the blog post, so you will find this simple requirements.txt file. So simply here, these are the requirements for building this. All these dependencies are there. So simply now you need to install this. So we'll simply write this command pip install -r requirements.txt. So this will install all these requirements which are available, guys. So we need to go into the backend directory and then execute this command. So you can see requirements already satisfied. We have already installed these dependencies. So after this, you need to create your app.py file. This will be the Flask server file. So right here we will be initializing our Flask server, guys. So this will be very simple. We will be importing the dependencies from Flask. We need to import the Flask dependency and the request module as well, and JSONify method as well. So then we need to, from Flask socket.io, we need to import the socket.io package, and also we need to import the emit method as well. And then from the Flask CORS package, we need to import the CORS module, which is used to prevent the cross origin error. Now we will be initializing our Flask app, guys. So we will be passing the name attribute here, and then we will be setting a secret key, guys. So inside our Flask application, this value can be anything. You can set it to any secret of your choice. So basically this needs to be an array, guys. So just change it to an array. And now inside the CORS module, guys, we will pass the app, and inside a resources folder, guys, you will simply say here inside this takes an object. So inside this object you will pass this property, which is, so here it takes the origins property. So this origin will be set to star, so it will take all the origins. And then we will set the socket.io variable, guys, which will be equal to the socket.io library that we have imported. And here we will pass the app and the actual CORS module as well. So this will be CORS allowed origins. So there is a property called as CORS allowed origins. So we need to set this property. Like this. So you can see that we have initialized socket.io. And also let me delete this, like this. So after this, guys, we need to start our Flask application. So for starting it, we will simply write like this, and here we can simply start the application socket.io run, and we can run this app on port number. Here we need to pass the port number 5001. So this application will run on 5001. So if you just now run this file, so you can see it will start this application at port number 5001. So if you now open this, so it will exactly tell you localhost 5001. This is your application. So this is your server which is running, guys. You can see socket.io Flask server is running on 5001. Now we need to simply make all the routes, guys, which is available. So whenever we open the home page, we need to set the route. So we will simply say app.route. So here we will be setting HTTP call. A simple route we will be setting here. So whenever someone goes to the browser and type this address, we will be executing this method, which will be HTTP call. And inside this, basically we will return a simple JSON data here. So this have a data property attached to it. So we will be simply this text was fetched using you can simply write anything here, using an HTTP call to server on render. So now we need to convert this data to JSON. So we will use the JSONify method here, and we will pass the data. That's it. So now, guys, if you go to this route here, we have configured this route, which is HTTP call here. And if you go to the browser and simply go to this route HTTP call, so this is your, let me refresh it now, your application. So now you can see your JSON data will be there like this. So localhost 5001/HTTP call, and this JSON data is returned to you. This contains a single property here. This text was fetched using an HTTP call to server on render, the same message that we have written. So here you can build out simple request as well. So this is your server, and now we need to add the functionality. So whenever someone connects using the client side, so we will simply say socket IO dot on. So we will be listening for the connect event. So when someone connects successfully on the client side, this event will automatically fire, and here we will be writing the definition. So what happens? So inside this function, we will first of all, using the request module that we have, we will be fetching the ID, SID of the client which is connected. So every socket, every client guys, it has a unique ID attached to it, and also we will be printing a simple message on the console that client is connected, like this. And we will be emitting out, guys, using this method. We will be emitting a socket.io WebSocket event to the client side, which is called as connect, and here we will be passing the information inside this object. So this will contain a single property which is called as data, and inside this we will send out the ID of the user. So this ID will be equal to, guys, which is we can simply say here request dot sid is connected. So you can now see, let me see, we don't need to close this. Now we need to close this, so you can now see. So we are simply passing the data, guys, to this emit function. So whenever we will be sending this event to the client side, we will be sending their ID parameter, which is there inside the request object. Request.sid is connected. So you can see we have binded this connect event here, socket.io, and then we will be binding another event, guys, which will be socket.io, and this will be for the disconnect. So whenever someone disconnects from the real-time chatting application, we will be listening for this event, and here we will be defining a function disconnected, and inside this we will simply print a message that user disconnected, and also we will be emitting a event which will be called as disconnect, and inside this we will pass a simple object which will be, or we can simply write like this, not pass an object, just put a comma, and here we will simply write here user with this request ID SID has been disconnected, like this. So we will get the request.sid ID of the socket has been disconnected, and here we need to add a third property, guys, which is called as broadcast. In socket.io, if you know about broadcasting, guys, broadcasting simply means that you are telling everyone except the client which is sending the request. Broadcasting is set to true, so it will broadcast this event. It will tell everyone in the chat that you are disconnected. So inside socket.io we have this broadcast parameter. By default it is set to false, but we will make this property to true. So whenever you are connected, guys, then we are not setting this broadcast property, but if you are disconnected, then we are telling. And lastly, guys, we need to enter a event, similar event here. Whenever you get any sort of chat message, this will be the data event. We are setting this custom event. We will be listening for this. So whenever any chat message comes here, we will be handling this. We will get the data from the client side. So what we will do, guys, we will simply first of all print this data here on the console, data from the front end, and whatever data that you have, we need to first of all convert this into string. We will use the string method. After this, we need to emit this event back to the client side. So we will be emitting about a same event, which is data here, back to the client side, and this time we will be sending an object, guys. So this object will contain a data property, and this data property will be equal to data, and the second parameter which we will be doing is that this will be a, put a single quote here, this will be a sample JSON, and we will also be returning the ID. So this will be coming request.sid, and also, guys, we will be sending a third parameter here, broadcast. So this will be broadcasted to everyone. this message will be broadcasted to each and every client which is connected. So again we will be broadcasting is to true. So that's all guys, this is all that we need to write inside the Flask backend socket.io server. So you can see that we have binded all these events out there. If you closely notice here, we have requested all the modules here at the very top. Then we have initialized a simple Flask server passing the secret key resources socket.io. We are initializing this. Then we have written 3 HTTP requests here. This is a simple HTTP request and these are 3 socket.io events. So whenever a new client connected, then we are simply printing out their ID. Client is connected, then we are emitting a connect event to the client side telling them that this socket is connected. Whenever they are disconnected, we are broadcasting to each and every client telling them they are disconnected, and whenever we got a chat message from the client side, we are again emitting that event back to the client side, and we are putting 2 things out there, the actual chat message and also the ID as well. So this is all the Flask server guys. We are starting this server at port number 5001. So now we need to create the React.js front end guys. So what we will do is that as you see, let me start this server python app.py. So it is starting this server here. You can see localhost 5001. So it has started this server. You can see that message is printed out, client is connected and it has its own ID. So every socket, every client guys, it has its own ID attached to it in socket.io. So now we will need to build out the front end of the application. So we will be simply be going to the front end directory, and here we will be initializing a new React.js project guys. So simply here we will simply say here npx create React app chat app. So simply create a new React.js application guys. So this will create a new React.js application inside this directory. So this will install all the dependencies, so just wait. And in the meantime, please hit that like button guys, subscribe the channel as well. If you have any sort of questions, you can ask in the comment section. So 5 people are watching the stream guys. We are building a socket.io real-time chatting application in Flask and React.js. We have already built the Flask web server. Now we are building the front end of this application in React.js. So please hit that like button. And I will also take all your comments here in the live chat. I know it's not the place or time, but I am one of your follower. And I have one question. Did you affected by October update in your site? And I am sorry. Yeah, definitely I am very much affected, and the traffic is so much down because of the Google spam update, and it is so much heartbreaking to see the website going down and down. So I don't know what can we do as a blogger, because it is all controlled by a single company, which is Google. So it is really disappointed to see that. So we are just generating this React.js project guys, so just wait, it is just doing that stuff here. Let me see guys why it has sent created npx create React app chat app inside the front end folder. So it is just installing these dependencies guys, so just wait here. Let me just, so this totally depends upon your internet connection guys. So how much fast is your internet connection? So please hit that like button guys. Only 2 likes are there, so increase these like number to 5 likes if you are watching it for the very first time. So you can see it is installing these dependencies for the React.js project. Okay, I think it is saying that there appears to be inefficient space on your system to finish. Okay, I think there is very few space left here. Let me So I need to delete some files guys from my system, so just wait. Sometimes if you don't have space guys, it can also generate an error. Let me go to recycle bin here and delete all these files here. So you can see that how much spacing is there, so it is deleting it, so just wait. And if I now do it once again, so if you don't have space guys inside your computer, then also you can see only 3.14 GB space left here, so already you will see that. Now hopefully it will proceed. Nine people are watching the stream guys, please hit that like button, subscribe the channel as well if you're watching it for the very first time. So now you can see that guys, it is created this folder, public app.js. This is our brand new React.js project. Simply you need to delete all the boilerplate code here and simply delete the logo. We don't need this. Also don't need this testing file, and inside your simply delete this. And now you can start your application guys, cd chat app. And you need to install some dependencies guys. First will be socket.io, which is a client library for React.js applications, socket.io. And also we need to install one other dependency, which is socket.io dash client. So these are the two dependencies guys which will be needed here, socket.io and socket.io client. So simply install these two dependencies. Now it is installed it, so we will start your React.js application, npm start. So this will start this application on port 3000. So after this guys, we need to go to our app component. So here we need to declare some state variables. You can see it is starting this on localhost 3000. So first of all, we need to declare some state variables for socket instance, set socket instance. So this will be the socket variable. We are declaring it. Initial value will be null. You can see useState is imported. Then we will have a loading also button. And last one we will have is the button status, set button status. This will be a boolean parameter guys, so initial value will be true, and this also will be a boolean parameter, the status of the button, it will be false by default. And now inside your HTML guys, what we need to do is simply here we will be having a simple h1 tag here. We will simply write here React Flask app plus socket.io, and inside this we will have a class name of line, and here we will be embedding this custom component guys, which is called as http call. So just make this simple component guys inside your source directory, and just make this components http call JSX. So So we can now import this, so you can see that. So inside this component, guys, what we need to do is that we will be importing the use effect hook here. So whenever we load this component, we will be making a simple get request to the backend Flask.js API. So we will make a simple fetch request here to this route, which is HTTP call endpoint here, route here, and here we will be passing the headers, which is content type. This can be right like this: content type, application, JSON. We are passing this header, and this returns a promise to us, which is we can handle this using dot. Then we will get the response. First of all, we need to convert this response to JSON. We will use the JSON method. Again, this returns a promise, so we will get the response data. And inside this, guys, we need to set the data like this. Set data, guys, we need to declare this useState variable for the data which will be coming. So this will be data set data. Initial value will be, so this will be useState. This will be empty by default, and we will again call set data, guys, and pass this response data. And there is a data property out there like this. If you closely notice, guys, inside app.py we have declared this endpoint here, which is /http call. We are returning this JSON data here, which contains this property data, and we are converting this to JSON here. So simply we are calling this inside our React.js, converting this to JSON, and then getting this data property. So now we simply need to display this data, guys. So we will inside, we will simply say here HTTP communication, and inside the h3 tag, guys, we will simply display the data. That's it. And we need to, if you refresh it now, you will see React Flask app plus socket.io. And if you now inspect element, what happens? Let me see. Let me run this. So this client is connected. Let me run this once again. Let me see, guys, what is the error out there. We are passing this request here to HTTP call, guys, application JSON. Okay, you can now see, guys, basically inside use effect we are making this call here, and inside your app.py, if you closely notice here, HTTP. Okay, we need to go into this folder, sorry, HTTP call. So if you load this here, it will make this request here and to this route here, which is localhost 5001/HTTP call. Components HTTP call. We are converting it to JSON here. If you see, guys, basically if I go to my so this is a request that we are doing right here, guys, inside our Flask server. Let me paste it once again. App.route. uh, I don't know why it is not displaying it, but still let me first of all, we are rendering out this component right here. You will see that HTTP call. Let me move to the second, after this component that we are rendering out. So basically inside your app.js guys, we will have this button property here, which initial value is false. So here after this, we will be rendering out it. We will be checking the status of the button. If it is false, in that case, we will be using a ternary operator here, and inside this we will simply display a button which will be turn chat on. And basically if it is set to true, in that case we will have a simple button, basically turn chat off. So what it will do guys, basically depending upon the variable, either it is true false, we will be displaying this button which is turn chat on. Initially this button will be displayed like this because initial value is true. So now basically we will be binding this on click property to both the buttons, which is handle click, to this also handle click. So we need to write this function guys. So handle click, inside this function what we will do, so just write this function here. We will just toggle this. So whenever I hit this button, check the property. If it is equal to false, then in that case we will set the button status to true. In the else block we will set the button status to false. So we will just toggle this like this. If you see, we are just toggling this label here of this button. So after you do this guys, it's very simple. Now we need to display this input field right here. If you see after this, we will also have a simple widget after this button. So we will be making a simple component which is called as WebSocket call, and here we will be passing the reference of the socket. So here we need to initialize the socket guys using useEffect hook. So whenever the component load for the very first time, we will be initializing this useEffect, and inside this useEffect guys we will be depending upon the button status property. So whenever this button status property changes, we will be executing this function. So right here inside this guys, we will be initializing our, we will see button status is true. In that case we need to initialize the socket, and this will be, we'll be using the IO method guys. So we will pass the address which is localhost 5001 slash, and then we will be passing an object which is contains a property which is transports, and this will be containing a property WebSocket, put a comma, and course object also. So this will be origin will be equal to HTTP localhost wherever you're calling from. So our address is 3000. So after you do this guys, we need to set the socket instance method, set socket instance, pass the socket, and here we will define all the methods guys. Whenever the socket is connected, we will get the data back from the server, and we will console logging it, the information, their ID and all that stuff. And also we will be setting the loading property as well to false, and whenever the socket is disconnected, this is the event which will be fired, and we will get the data, and simply we will print out the data inside the console. And lastly we will be returning this function which is cleanup, and inside this you will simply call the disconnect method. That's all. Now we just need to make this component, guys, which is called as WebSocket call. You can now see. So now we can simply import this component. You can see that it is imported here. So right here in this component, guys, what we need to do is that basically we will have a h2 heading here. This time this will be WebSocket communication, and basically it will contain a simple input field to type the chat message. The value will be equal to the actual message. So here we need to declare a useState variable for this. So this will be empty by default, and also, guys, we will be having a simple on change, handle input change. So then we will have a simple button, guys. So this button will be simply able to send this message and to the client, server side. So we will be defining a on click. So whenever you submit, you will handle submit like this. This will be handle text. So we need to define all these methods, guys. So whenever you submit your form, this function will execute handle submit. And here we will first of all check if message is not written correctly. In that case, we will simply return from this function. If the message is there, we will emit a socket. So really, guys, we need to declare our use effect here. Again, this will execute whenever this component loads for the very first time. So here we will have the socket reference. I think we haven't inside this. Okay, we are getting this socket as a property, guys, in the props. If you see inside app.js, we are passing this socket as a property here. Socket is equal to socket instance. So we have initialized the socket instance like this. So this is a socket here, reference which is passed to this component. So we are getting this socket here. So here inside this, first of all, we will be listening for different events here, which will be whenever the data is sent, we will be getting this data, and we will first of all declare a messages use state as well. So this will be messages, set messages, initial value once again will be empty. You can also set it as an array of s, because messages will be plenty of messages, so this will be an empty array. So right here you can call this method and pass the data like this. So this will have one message here. You can even use a better approach, guys. You can use the spread operator here like this. Put a comma and then data dot message, data dot data. That's it. And then, guys, we need to return from this function, and we will simply say socket dot off whenever the socket is disconnected. In that case, we will simply say that data event was removed like this. And basically, guys, it is dependent upon the socket as well. So this property is dependent upon the socket and also on the messages array as well. So whenever these two things changes, this will automatically trigger, which is use effect. So now we just need to write the handle submit. So if the message is there, we will simply emit this event back to the server side, which is data. and here we will pass the message as the second argument, and then we will set the message back to empty, clear out the input field. And also guys, we will be handling the text, so whenever some changes, so handle text. So inside this guys, there will be an event parameter which will be passed here, so we will simply say here input message e.target.value. So whatever the user write inside that input field, we will get like this. After this, we will set the message input message. That's it. That's all that we need to write guys inside this. So hopefully this application, and once again guys, we need to render out all these messages. So we also need to, if I now execute it, you will see IO is not defined. Basically guys, if you see, we also need to import the IO. So whenever you are doing this, I think we need to import the IO as well. So this IO will be imported from the package which we have imported. So go to app.js, so just import this IO as well. So this will be imported from socket.io.client. If you now refresh it, you will now see a simple input field. If you write a message here, click on submit, the message will not be displaying here. So we need to render out all the messages by using the map operator right here at the bottom. When we finished with the submit button, we will be displaying it using the map operator. So right here inside your UL element guys, so here we will have the messages. We will use the map operator. For each message, we will have the index number as well. So we will be displaying this. We will be returning a simple li, and inside this we will be showing the index number, sorry, actual message. And here we also need to provide a key parameter. This is required in React.js, which is index. So now your guys, all your messages will also get displayed. So if you now any message, you will now see this is your message. If you write any message, so now the beauty of this application is that if you guys open this URL in the second tab, this is connected. You will now see each window is connected. So if you now refresh it, basically if you write any sort of message here, this message will also get sent in the second client as well. So these are both connected using WebSockets, using socket.io, and I can even open this like this. So simply do like this. So whatever you say like this here, if I write here, this is John here, click on send, you will now see this is David. So this is connected, real-time connected. So this is real-time chatting application. You can chat with billions of friends chatting at the same time. They will have this window and they can chat with each other without using any sort of database. It is all happening due to the WebSockets connection which is there. So we have implemented in React.js and Flask at the backend guys, which is a Python framework for building web servers. So if you like this video, then please hit that like button, subscribe the channel as well. I'm seeing that people are not liking the content, only 2 likes are there, so please hit that like button, subscribe the channel as well, and all the source code is given in the description of this live stream. And I will be seeing you in the next tutorial.